The most recent season of Australian Survivor, titled Heroes v Villains, was the show's greatest installment yet. The season followed last year's disappointing Blood v Water season, which was a low point for the show. Even though the previous season featured several returning players, including American Survivor legend Sandra Diaz-Twine, it was an entirely predictable and sluggish outing for the show. Coming off the heels of a less-than-stellar season, Heroes v Villains was a successful rebound for the reality competition series. The season borrowed its theme from the US version, but it changed up the format. Instead of exclusively featuring returning players like the US Heroes vs. Villains season from 2010, the Aussie version featured a cast with both returnees and Survivor newbies. Heroes v Villains had the best Survivor gameplay in years. Australian Survivor Heroes v Villains was such a great season because of its compelling cast and the strategic gameplay they put into action. Notably, nearly every big-name returning player made a major impact on the season, including Brains v Bronze runner-up, King George Mladenow. King George was a strategic powerhouse on his first season, and made an even bigger legacy as an all-time great on his return trip in Heroes v Villains. He ultimately lost the game, but his presence on the season led to many unforgettable moments and showcased complex and unprecedented gameplay. George's dynamic maneuvering made for electric television, and his rivalries with his competitors, like Simon Mee and Brains v Brawn champ Hayley Leake, formed rewarding storylines that carried over and paid off in major ways on the season. Other returnees like Jordy Hansen, Sonny Bodo, Sean Hampson, and Stevie Cole also made memorable return trips, even if they weren't as successful as endgame players like George, Hayley, and Simon. The season's newbies, though generally less dynamic, also held their own, which led to Survivor underdog Liz Parnov becoming the season's ultimate sole survivor. Australian Survivor Heroes v Villains had successful ratings. Heroes v Villains wasn't just a success in terms of quality, it has also led to an unprecedented level of enthusiasm and viewership numbers for the show. With ratings up by 30% from Blood v Water and over 1 million Australian viewers tuning into the finale, the season was a ratings smash according to TV Black Box News. Because of the season's quality and word-of-mouth hype, its popularity also spread beyond Australia and led to numerous American Survivor viewers checking out the season. Former Survivor All-Star and podcast host Rob Cesternino even stated on Rob Has a Podcast that Australian Survivor has eclipsed its American counterpart as the best version of the franchise. The success of Heroes v Villains means that there will likely be much more Australian Survivor coming in the future. The show may even return to the format immediately, as it did with the Champions vs. Contenders theme for seasons 3 and 4. Whether the show can replicate the success of its first Heroes v Villains installment remains to be seen, but it's a sure bet that Australian Survivor will look at the season as a new benchmark for quality moving forward. Source: Shannon Gus, Twitter, TV Black Box News. Rob Has a Podcast.
Love in a modern world is fake when love was meant for joy too. When I find you, I realize that somehow we lie. Love in the modern world, it is fake when love was meant for joy. I know that he hurt you. Your 5 inches of heart is human. Can you be sure? No.